Hello, everyone. Welcome, and thank you for joining us for our live webinar. Today's topic will be track user activity, application usage, and server performance with the SysKit Monitor tool. My name is Silvio. I'm a sales executive here at SysKit. And here with me, we actually have a SysKit co-founder and president, Frane, who will be showing you a demo later today. So as many of you already know us as a company, but there are definitely some of you who still don't. So let me quickly introduce you to SysKit and who we are and what we do. So we're basically a software development company. We were founded some 11 years ago, and we develop products for Office 365 governance, for administration solutions for SharePoint on-premise, as well as an enterprise server monitoring solutions for Windows Server and Citrix. And yeah, SysKit Monitor is one of those products. We currently have over 3,000 customers in over 75 countries worldwide. And well, as you can see actually here, some of the logos. So yeah, some of those are quite famous. We currently have 5 products, including our award-winning ASPI docket for on-premise documentation, SysKit Point for Office 365 governance and security, and SysKit Monitor, again, the star for tonight, for enterprise server monitoring and administration. Okay, so for those who are not familiar with the tool I keep mentioning, SysKit Monitor, our today's star. So this is a server monitoring and administration tool. So basically, it can help you monitor SharePoint, SQL, Windows Server, Citrix, desktops, remote desktop services, gateway, so a lot of stuff. Its main features include, again, a lot of stuff like tracking user activities, tracking application usage, being able to monitor server performance, tracking server inventory, taking a look at the server audit reports, PowerShell administration, and yeah, some other features that are gonna, well, there's actually a long list of those as well. And yeah, now soon I'm gonna stop with the blabbling, and Fran is gonna start with the demo. Before that, let's just do a few housekeeping rules. So all registrants will receive a recording of the session a few days after this demo. Also, after this demo, right after the demo, we'll actually have a Q&A session where you can ask any questions you have. So for that, just go and use this Q&A function on the right of the screen, and you can ask your questions there. So whatever is on your mind, just drop it. Please don't be shy. So yeah, I think this is enough for me. I will now turn things over to Frane for the, well, main event today, the demo. Frane, ready?
Yes, Silvio, thank you very much for the brief introduction. So we will start with explaining how SysKit Monitor works, so how it is installed, where it is installed, and how we are monitoring remote servers. So this is a main administration screen in the SysKit Monitor. So SysKit Monitor gets installed on a single server. And then when you install it on the single server, from that single location, you are able to monitor all your servers in the environment. So from the day one, when we started developing SysKit Monitor, we wanted to have the agentless application that is able agentlessly to monitor all the remote servers. Why that is important? Because on your mission critical Citrix or remote desktop servers, or the SQL servers, or the SharePoint servers, sometimes you are not allowed even to install any third-party software. So everything that you will see today, we use the APIs to get all this data from the remote servers. So this is the screen where we have the overview of all the servers that we have in our environment. And like you see, we can define different computer groups for the different servers. So for example, in this demo environment, we have a Citrix farm, we have the SharePoint servers, and we have the SQL servers. You can see underneath that we also have monitoring template. So what is a monitoring template? Basically, when you add the server to the SysKit Monitor, then you can choose the template for that particular server. That means that, for example, for the SQL server, SysKit Monitor will monitor the performance counters and the services that are only important for the SQL Server. The same will be for the SharePoint, for the Citrix, for the Hyper-V, IIS. So you have different templates, and these are the predefined templates that come with the application. But if you have some other servers that you want to monitor and some other specific performance counters, you can create the template by yourself, and then you can easily apply that template to that server. So when we added the servers inside the SysKit Monitor, then the data collection, the crawling starts, and then data comes directly to the SysKit Monitor interface, and basically you are able to view all the environment, all your farms, all the different farms inside the SysKit Monitor. Okay, let's drill to the dashboard, and then we will go to the different reports that we have inside the SysKit Monitor. So we have on the main dashboard, we have a live overview of all the current sessions. So this is a report where you will see every single server that you are monitoring in your environment, and you can sort it by the different states or the users that are connected to that server. So this is a live preview of this users on this particular environment. If we click underneath, so if we click the current processes, we can check the server, the state, the user, and we can check. We can see all the applications that our different users are running. So this is specifically important for the remote desktop services and for the Citrix servers, because, for example, when we are trying to debug what's going on with the user, you have the live data of all the users on all the servers, and you can easily find by the server or, for example, that particular user. And if the user has few sessions on few different servers, you will be able to do that and then do some kind of the action over that user. Okay. Enough about the dashboard. Let's drill into the user reports. So I would like to show you first the summary reports. Summary reports are reports where you have executive overview about the details of the particular server, user, and we always group that by different dates. So for example, on this report, you can see that we have a server and then we have a date. Here on the right, you can see data live. So that's for today. Or you can go back. So you can select, for example, last 14 days, and then you will see, you will get the overview of per server who connected exactly when, what was the last log off for that particular user, and you will understand if that user was active or idle in the session. So for example, for this user right here, we can see that he had a session on the 23rd of August, and you can see that he logged on at this time. He logged off at 6 p.m. and he was active. He was in the session for 1 hour and 12 minutes. But as we are connecting directly to the RDP or the ICA protocol to extract this data, we are able to tell you if that particular user was active or idle in the session. So what does it mean? That means if user is doing something, if he's using keyboard, if he is opening application, then that means that he is active in the session. And if he's not active in the session, then he's not doing anything. And when you extract the data from the protocol, that means that you are able to understand if that user was active or idle in the remote desktop or Citrix ICA session. Okay, let's move on to another report that I want to show you. So this is user count per day. Let's, for example, select for last 30 days. And then you can get an overview of what is the amount of users that are connecting to my servers. So application gets all the users from all the servers in your environment, and then you get the overview by day, what's the amount of that different users that are connecting to your remote desktop or Citrix servers. Let's move on. User activity by state is really popular report, used by a lot of our clients. This basically provides you a summary of all the users who connected to your environment. It will tell you number of times they logged to the different servers. It will tell you the total time on system. And out of that total time, you will be able to understand if the user was actually active or idle. Or maybe he was in the disconnected state, and this is remote control or shadowing in Citrix. So basically, maybe if you have a server farm of around 100 servers, you don't want to see activity for every particular user on each server, but you want to get an overview of what that user, where he connected, and basically this report will provide you this information for the whole server environment. Most active users by state. So this is really really simple overview that will show you basically most active or idle users, and basically it will tell you what your users are doing in your environment, if they are actually active and doing something, or they are idle and maybe not doing anything in the session. Okay, so these are the type of reports where you get the summary. So if you want to go into the details, then you want to drill down, for example, into the session log report. So session log, unlike session log summary, will provide you a detail for every user how that looked like inside your environment. So, for example, we have a server SP19-SP docket, and we have a user that is a part of this organization unit test users, and then you can see how exactly that user looked every day. So if these users connected from different PCs, you will be able to see the client name as well. You will be able to see started on time, ended on time, if that particular session was active or idle, and even you will be able to see the session name. So this is important for troubleshooting. If you need to connect these logs to some particular apps that you are running inside your environment, then you need sometimes to have to get the session name as well. Let's move on. I want to show you network traffic reports. Network traffic reports provide you on top of the client name, and when the particular user started on or ended on, it will tell you the IP address of the client. For example, this is a demo environment, and I don't have clients that are connecting from outside, so you will see only internal IP address. But if your users are connecting from outside the network, somewhere from the internet or from the branch office or something similar to that, then you will be able to see the public IP address of that particular session that user had when connecting to your servers. Okay, so enough about the user reports. Let's get down to the application reports. So when user connects to the server, then he opens a session, and then inside that session, he's running multiple applications. And sometimes for the audit purposes or just for the reporting purposes, you want to see what are the different applications that your users are running in your environment. So this report on top of the session that you have in the previous user reports will provide you all the different reports, all the different applications that your users are running inside your environment. So, for example, we have this generic Windows processes, but then you will find, for example, this user was running Microsoft Office or some other application inside the session. What is good is basically when you install the SysKit Monitor, then basically it will get all the applications that you have on all the servers, and it will start monitoring automatically all the different apps. If you don't want some apps, you can exclude them from monitoring. So for example, a lot of our customers want to exclude generic Windows processes from monitoring because you don't care about the Windows installer maybe, or RDP clipboard monitor, or runtime broker. You don't care sometimes about the generic processes, and you can easily exclude that applications from monitoring. What's cool also is if you install the new application, you don't need to do anything inside the SysKit Monitor, and basically the new application, when the user runs it, it will start automatically monitoring that application as well. So not only who you will see later on, not only who ran the application, but it will monitor the application CPU usage, memory, how the application was performing on that different servers. Okay, so when you are monitoring applications, some of our clients want to monitor, in addition to the application reports, also licenses for that different applications. So let's say that we have 14 available licenses for the Adobe Illustrator, and we want to monitor how many different, in this sample, how many different devices are using this Adobe Illustrator. Of course, you are able to monitor per user licenses as well. So if you drill down for the Adobe Illustrator, then you will see who are these exact devices that are consuming this license for the Adobe Illustrator. It's the same for the application per user license. If you drill down, then you will see what are the exact users that are consuming this license in your environment. Let me show you what else you can do with the licenses. So this is something that a lot of our users are using. You need to monitor licensing servers. So you want to decide if you want to license remote desktop services per device or per users, and then you want to monitor how many available licenses you have. Depending on what scenario you decide to use, then the application, you will tell to the SysKit Monitor that, for example, you have 24 per device calls, and then in the particular time range, maybe you don't want to monitor only in the 30 days. Maybe you want to monitor this in the 60 days, in a six months time, or maybe a year time, and then the SysKit Monitor will tell you what amount of the devices or users are consuming your cal. So this is really important module of the SysKit Monitor, and a lot of our customers are using SysKit Monitor to check the licenses as well. Okay, let's move on to the performance reports. So this is really cool because from one single interface, you can get a quick overview of all the servers, how the servers are looking in your environment. So you can check really quickly what are the top computers by CPU, what are the top computers by memory, top computers by disk space usage. You can check your different groups. For example, if you have a Citrix farm 1, farm 2, if you want to monitor SharePoint servers, if the alerts are generated in your environment, and this computer's health overview that really easily tells you what's the amount of servers or computers that are experiencing some kind of the critical issues at the moment. So let's go deeper. Let's click on the dashboard, and then you have all the servers that you are monitoring, and just a quick overview of how the CPU, memory, free space, disk queue for that particular server is looking in really simple metrics. So, for example, let's select this SQL server. We can see that we have currently 3 users logged in, 68 processes, but we're not sure why this particular server is red. If we drill down, so I will double click on this SQL server, you will get a better overview with more details on what's going on with that SQL server. So we can see that the CPU is looking okay, memory is also looking okay, disks are looking okay, network is also looking okay, top 5 processes, they are not generating a lot of the processor time or the memory, or they are not so intensive on the disk. So let's go deeper. And then we have a monitoring templates. So monitoring templates is are the thing that we discussed on the administration screen, where basically you can apply a different monitoring template to the different servers. And now if we expand the SQL, and then if we expand the monitoring services, we can see that the SQL full text filter daemon launcher is stopped, and we have a SQL Server analysis services that are also stopped. So for you, for the production server, that's of course a bad thing. And not only that you can report if some particular services are stopped, you can also use the application to try to auto start that particular service. For example, some service had a problem and then it stopped for whatever reason. You can configure application to try to auto start that service, and then if auto start fails, then it will send you alert that maybe you want to look into that particular server. Okay, let's go back. For example, let's select a Citrix server and let's check what we can get with the Citrix server. So let me select all the servers, and we can see that, for example, this XA7 server, something is not good with the server. So this server is in red. Let's check what's going on. Let's drill down. And on this screen, everything is looking okay. Let's scroll down more. And we are searching for the red items. Okay, something in Citrix is red, so something in the monitored services is red. And on this particular server, Citrix broker service and the Citrix licensing are red and they're not working. This particular farm has only one delivery controller, and this means that our users are not able to connect to our Citrix farm. But most of the companies have at least 2 delivery controllers, and then basically if one of the delivery controllers is experiencing some kind of troubles, you want to get information, you want to get events from that server that something is going on. Maybe your users are able to connect to the farm, but something is going on with the server, and you don't want to get all the overview of what all is not what are all performance counters and the services and the applications and all the different stuff, but you just want to focus on that single thing that is not working very well for your Citrix farm. Okay, so That's the sample of what you can get with the server monitoring. For the remote desktop services and for the Citrix, it's not only important to monitor the CPU and the memory on the server level, but also on the application and the user level. So if we scroll down, if we if we can see that we have a user performance. So this means basically that you will get a real-time performance of all the users that are in your farm. So for example, on this server, you can monitor, of course, the uh, uh, service users as well, but you can monitor. You will see inside that session what are the different applications that uh, that particular user is running, and you will understand how that application is performing. So if that particular application is using a lot of the CPU time, a lot of the memory, and if that application is really intensive on the desk. So this is really important for the Citrix and for the remote desktop services. So a lot of our customers like to use these reports. And for the end, I would like to show you inventory. So inventory is the snapshot of your whole environment. So you will get all the servers, all the processors, network adapters, hard drives, different software that is installed, and you will have inventory of everything that you have in the environment. So the most used report on the inventory module inside the SysKit Monitor is this hard drives, because basically it will tell you all the different partitions that you have on the in your environments, on your servers, and then if some particular server needs more disk space, in really easy to use report, you can check all the servers in your environments, how they're looking like. Okay, so this is really basic overview of some basic reports inside SysKit Monitor. I encourage you to go to the syskit.com and then to find the SysKit Monitor download free trial, and you can use that link to download the free trial, to install it in your environment, and then to try it out by yourself. Now, I would ask Silvio if there are any questions that we can answer for our audience.
Okay, so Frane, first, yeah, thank you for the awesome presentation. I'm sure everyone liked it. So as Frane already started it, we are up for this Q&A session. And yes, Frane, indeed, we have some questions. So since you're eager to answer them, I'm gonna point them towards you right now. So
Please.
first, we have a question from Jackson. So he's asking, how does SysKit impact server and workstation performance?
So this is the thing when we discussed about the agents and how we do not have any agents, that application is completely agentless. For example, for the monitoring of the server performance, we use WMI, and for the monitoring of the remote desktop services and the Citrix servers, we connect directly to the RDP and ICA protocol, and we generate a small overhead. So basically, when we take a snapshot, then the server will generate maybe 1% of the CPU, and that's it. And of course, you will generate some network traffic to get that data to the Citrix server. But all the data that you see inside the SysKit is basically processed on the SysKit Monitor server itself. So application, if you have a lot of servers, we have clients with over 1,000 servers, the application will use a lot of the CPU on the SysKit server, but it will not generate a lot. So only 1% of the CPU memory, nothing, and then it will generate some network traffic to get that data back to the SysKit Monitor server.
Okay, thank you, Fran. I guess we have a question which is well partially answered by this answer to this just now. But okay, let's try it. So basically, the question is where the snapshots are stored.
Backend for the SysKit monitor is the SQL Server database. So uh, you can use any SQL Server that you have in your environment. When you are installing application in the wizard, you will have option to create a database, or if you have a DBA who created the database by yourself. But basically, backend for storing all these different information about your servers and the snapshots as well is in the SQL database.
Mhm. Okay, great. One more thing that I would actually like to add, and I mean, you can also point in. So when speaking with the clients regarding these databases, people usually ask, do we support the SQL Express as well? So for anyone who would be interested here on the side, so yeah, this is also something we fully support. Okay, going.
Just to add, Silvio, so
Sure.
SQL Express is supported for smaller environments because obviously you have a hard limit of 10 gigabytes on the SQL Express. So if you have just a couple of servers, you can use SQL Express to store the data. But if you have hundreds of servers, then of course you at minimum you will need SQL Standard because the database will be larger than 10 gigabytes. So yes, you can use it, but only we recommend for a few servers.
Okay, great. Thank you, Frane. Going into other questions. Okay, so uh, can you extract the application names from Citrix?
Yes, to be honest, I'm not sure if I have a sample on this. Let me check really quickly if we have. No, we don't have any test users running Citrix applications in this farm, but basically when we connect to the Citrix farm, we are able to differentiate the process that is running in the Windows server, and we are able to extract the exact application name for the Zen app from the Zen app, or today it's called Citrix Virtual Apps. So a lot of administrators, they have their own naming convention for the different applications, and they want not to understand what is the process, because if you publish multiple Internet Explorers, then you want to extract that application name from the Citrix. And yes, that is something that that SysKit Monitor is supporting.
Okay, great. Thank you, Frane. And I guess the last question, I'm gonna try to reword it a bit to make it a bit simpler. So basically, can the reports be scheduled to different people and different reports? I guess can different reports be included into the scheduling?
Actually, yes. So all the reports that we have inside the application. So for example, let's go to the session log summary. Let's select last 14 days. Let's select all the servers that we have in the environment. So you can create a subscription, and then inside that different subscriptions, you can add different reports. And then, of course, when you create a different subscription, you can define different people who will get that scheduled reports. Of course, the schedule for the reports can be daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly. You can define however you want, but basically you have the ability to specify different users who will receive these reports as well.
Okay, great. Thank you, Frane. So during the questions, we didn't receive any additional follow-ups to your questions. So I guess, yeah, Frane, you're off the hook, and everyone else, we're going to slowly wrap up the QA question. You maybe have a few seconds or so to write something in. So yeah, once again, thank you all for joining us today. As mentioned, everyone who's registered will receive a recording within a few days, probably sometime early next week. And if you have any additional questions, maybe you didn't remember to ask it right now or something like that, Feel free to reach out to us, drop us an email, drop us an email on sales@syskit.com, and we're going to be more than happy to help you out. So yeah, until the next time, it was a pleasure having you all here, and yeah, see you guys. Take
Thank
care.
you, everybody. Bye bye.